No, yesterday the subject was going according to Beis Shammai. He holds a Mama. I just have screen, just not. The screen is showing. Anybody can tell me if the screen is showing the diagram?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this was yesterday. This was Beis Shammai in the Mishnah. 3 brothers married 2 sisters. One of them died, and then the second step was that another brother did ma'amar to that woman, and then the other brother died. And the question is if it's considered a chos kukaso, or do you say that he's already married to her? Beis Shammai said that he's considered married to her already, and then he could continue the yibum, even though he didn't do yibum, just did ma'amar. That was the Mishnah on Amar Aleph that he could continue. And also,
excuse me, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but yesterday it was hard for me to hear, but it seems like the mamar is at number 2. That means that son did that brother did mamar? You kept pointing to the other one.
The numbering means the order of things. The numbers are just the order of what happened.
He
The
died. Number 1
2 and
died.
3, number 1, there's no numbers. There's just the order. This brother died first, and then this brother did yibum, did ma'amar, and then this brother died. The numbering is, I'll try to make a better system, but the numbers are just the order of what happened. 2
is not a person. In other words, number 2 is not a person. It's a time.
Right.
There are only 3 brothers, not 4 brothers. I didn't understand that.
Right. Okay. I'll try to improve on the diagrams. But that was the point. Beis Shammai said that the mamar that the brother did, it's considered as if he took her already. And then when the other brother dies, in the 3rd stage, that the other brother dies, it's not like 2 women are falling to him equally. That's a chos kukaso, but this one is already his wife, and he's allowed to continue with the marriage. And this other sister does not interfere. To also give the Gemara was to discuss what status does Beis Shammai consider mamar, and it comes out to summarize the whole sugya. First, the Gemara had a question: is it considered only as far as pushing away the tzara? It's only considered that it's his wife as far as she's already in, and the tzara is not going to interfere. The Gemara even added that the tzara would need chalitza, but that the Gemara says is not true. The tzara does not need chalitza. That much also, she's dochel legamri, that she's off. She's in and she's out. But the Gemara wanted to know if this is considered mamash a marriage, that if he'd want to terminate, he just would be able to give her a divorce like a regular wife, or do you state that no, the yibum, the zika is still strong and he has to give chalitza for that? That was the Gemara's discussion. And then the Gemara also started a point that maybe it is considered a marriage, but in the marriage there are 2 stages called erisin and nesuin, and we wanted to know how strong does Beis Shammai consider this mamar to be considered maybe even nesuin. The Gemara wanted to know what does that mean. First, the Gemara said that as far as to inherit her if she dies, or to become tummy to her if he's a Kohen, then surely not. The mamar of Beis Shammai is not going to be so strong to make that he's already married. No, that's surely not. But the Gemara does discuss if he would have relations with her against her will. Is that considered a rest as if it's nesuanosa and it's considered a good yibum, or no, that now he would if it was against her will, it wouldn't be acceptable. But then the Gemara goes back to the issue called afaras nedara. Means is he considered her husband as far as the power to be able to nullify her vows, and that also an arusa cannot. If it only be a stage of erisin, it cannot, and a stage of nesuin it could. And that's what the Gemara started saying in the first wide line. My tashma ben yavam echad ben shnei yavamin. That's what the Gemara started discussing about. Is it possible for a yavam to do a afaras nedara to his yavam? And the Gemara brought up the machlokas between Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Eliezer said that he could do hafara, the yavam could do hafaras nedara to that woman. Rabbi Yeshua said only if there's only one brother, but if there are 2 brothers, not. And Rabbi Akiva says he cannot. And the Gemara explains, the Gemara has a problem with Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer, that's the Gemara has a problem with that. How could it be that yavam could do hafaras nedara to the yavama? He didn't yet take her. He just it's just in the limbo that he didn't. Her husband died, and he didn't yet do yibum. So Yeshua says, if there's one, then what does it say? Additionally, Rabbi Akiva says ein zika. So is not authorized to do hafara. Rabbi Yeshua says that if there's one brother, yes. If there are 2 brothers, not. Also understandable. But Rabbi Eliezer even if he holds zika, but there are 2 brothers. He says ben yavam echad. Even if there are 2 surviving brothers, he could do hafara. And the question is, how could he do hafara? If there are 2, you'd have to have that there should be both of them together, jointly, should do the hafara. How could it be that one of the two is going to do hafara by himself? Because of that kasha, the Gemara is forced to say that it's talking about mamar, according to Beis Shammai, that one of the brothers, there are two brothers, shnei yevamim, but one of them did the mamar, and that's kona. And the Gemara says, if he said that he's being kona, bishlam in the and osa, so now he's allowed to be mefer. But if it's eris and osa, so the question is that every time in arusa, the husband, the orus, only has the power to do hafaras nedorim jointly together with the father. Means there's an arm rasa, and she has a vow. She's an hour means that she's not yet a boger. She was still now still in erison. So the halach is that in order to nullify her neder, there has to be a joint nullification from the father, who still has some jurisdiction over her, and the new husband is only an arus. He's not in the suit. Not so he does erison. So the Gemara's question is, even if you say that the mamar is enough to make that he's going to be able to do it exclusively without the other brother. But there's another problem over here, that an erison is only able to do it together with the father. And here it doesn't say the father, here the brother's doing it by himself. So the Gemara wanted to bring a proof from here that Ma'amar accomplishes Nisuin, according to Beis Shammai. That's more or less what we're up to. And the Gemara now is going to reject that. Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak, my mefer b'shutfus. And Achlami means that he has to have the father also. So it's not a proof. The Gemara trying to bring a proof that the Ma'amar, according to Beis Shammai, is very strong. It's even the status of Nisuin. But the Gemara says no, it's not a proof, because it could be over here that it means he's mefer together with the father. So we leave it as a question. We don't know how strong is Ma'amar according to Beis Shammai. Is it going to be like Erison or like Nisuin? The Gemara continues. The Gemara is going back to attack Rabbi Eliezer. Yesterday, we had an opinion that says that it's not Erison and it's not Nisuin. It's only the power to be able to push away the tzara, but it's not considered marriage at all. We didn't point this out yesterday, but I saw Taisus Shalom says that this question of Rabba is going against Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer in the beginning said that it's not able to, it's not considered a marriage at all. It's only enough, means she would need more than a get if he wanted to terminate the marriage. He'd have to have chalitza also. So that was what Rabbi Eliezer said. Rabba is against it. Rabba says no, it's surely considered a marriage. The question is erison and nisuin. But Rabbi Eliezer before the first shita, he had no question. It's not erison and it's not nisuin. It's just enough to push away the tzara. So now the Gemara is bringing back Rabbi Eliezer back onto the stage. That once we brought a rai over here, that there is some kind of a farah. So you see the farah that it's at least erison. Maybe not nisuin. That was the Gemara's discussion. Rabbi Eliezer only yafer is the proof that it's nisuin or only erison. But l'chara it's something. It's one of the two. But according to Rabbi Eliezer the Amora, he says that there's nothing, that it's not even considered erison. That's the Gemara's kasha. How could you explain Rabbi Eliezer that says that there's a farah over here, and the Gemara was forced to say that it's talking about, as the Gemara said, there are two brothers. How can one brother do it by himself? Even if you're the Zika, it must be because Ma'amar Beis Shammai. You must say that the Ma'amar accomplishes at least erison. So the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Emadam b'yano enakona elalitchos l'tzara bilvad delos agila begita elaboy nami chalitza. I didn't mean to say that it's not a marriage at all. I also could agree that it's a marriage as far as the Dorim. I just meant to say, don't think that it's he could terminate it with a get alone. He does need chalitza. But I didn't mean to get into the subject. It could be that it is a good marriage. As far as everything else, means the word that I said, it's only dochel and tzara b'levad. That's not. I wasn't dafka. Don't take that so seriously. It could be that it's a marriage. Even the gabe, the Dorim also. It could be that he's authorized to be able to make for the nether. I just meant to say that if he wants to terminate it, he has to have chalitza also. He says, don't think that it's only difficult on me, that you're asking, how can I do a farah? If I hold that it's not a marriage, there's no farah. The question that you're saying is also not so great, to say that Rabbi Eliezer holds that it's going Ma'amar Beis Shammai, and the cases that both brothers do it, the brother together with the father, made for b'shutfus. You need the father also. That's also not such a great shot. That was Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak's shot. Where's Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak? I'm Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. My made for b'shutfus. That you need the father also. So the Gemara says also it doesn't say that. It says you're fair. So I'm going to say a shot.
Yes, you're not showing the Gemara.
What?
The screen doesn't have the Gemara.
I'm not showing the Gemara.
No.
Oh, 1 second. So what did I do wrong here? 1 second. Let's start again. Now the Gemara is showing?
Yes. Yes.
And now the diagram shows?
No.
Also not. Okay, we'll see what happens as we go along.
Push that button there, no?
I did, but it didn't work this time. Okay, anyway, the Gemara says that, where are we? So Beleza says your teretz also is not so halak, it's not so straight to say that when it says Yafer, it means Yafer b'shutfis, because it doesn't say plural, it says singular. So I'm going to say a pshat that's going to avoid the whole problem, and it's not a proof to anything. It could be that it's not that ma'amar is not enough to accomplish erisin or nesuin. It could be amrite, and there's no first nedarim. That your pshat is also not good. It could be different issue over here. The din is that who does the widow get supported from? Somebody died, without any children, so who does she get supported from? So over there later on it says that if there's a yevamos, usually she gets supported from the estate. She gets ksuba, as long as the husband died, she gets supported from the estate, as long as she doesn't remarry. So but the din is if there's a yavam, then she's obligated to do yibum. So for the first 3 months over there, it says that she gets supported from the husband's estate because she's not allowed to do yibum for the first 3 months. We'll see that. But once he could do yibum, so then the yavam is obligated to support her. And over there it says that if she says, okay, so either do yibum or chalitza, like either free me and let me get married to somebody else, or do yibum and I'll be married. So over there, if she was tovei and then they said that he has to support her until he decides if he wants to do yibum or chalitza. So then she gets supported from his estate. The yavam has to decide if he wants to do yibum or chalitza, and if he's not sure yet, he doesn't know what he wants to do. So then he has to pay. He has to support her until he decides. And then over there it says that at that point, even if he would run away and he wouldn't pay, whatever, but she's supported from his estate. Bezdin goes to the estate and supports her because he's mechayiv to give his owners. So now it says once she's being supported by him, there's a klal when she makes a neder, she does it on her own because of her own what would you call it? Dedication to him, because she's being supported by this man, even if it's not her husband. Also, she doesn't make a neder only if he agrees to it. So that'll be the pshat in the din over there when it says the case is going to be of such a case. And now it's not a raya that the mama, you don't have to say that it's mama dafka, even without mama, and it's nothing to do with being mama being considered erisin and nesuin. It's a new din, even if it's not considered a marriage. The fact that she's being supported by him, that's the reason why her neder is al dato. That's the end of the sugya. Very interesting that the Gemara went very much into Beis Shammai. We don't hold it Beis Shammai. And even in Beis Shammai, the Gemara wants to know, okay, how much is it? Is it considered a marriage? If he wants to terminate it, does it get enough? Does he need chalitza? And as far as Yerusha and Tumah and as far as Nedarim, the Gemara also brought in the subject over here about being miyabim bal korcho now. So the Gemara is judging and analyzing Beis Shammai, Shita, and Mamar, and the Gemara comes out. It seems that it's not proven that Rabbi Elazar said that it's not even considered a marriage, maybe at all, and even as far as the Torah Sador, maybe not. That's the end of the Gemara. The other possibility would be that it is considered erisin, and he could be made for together with the father, shuttas with the
That's
father.
only when she's under 12? Is that when she's
Okay, the halachas, I don't know the rest of the halachas. And the other possibility maybe is if he considered nesuin and he could do a first adon by himself, but the Gemara he seems to leave it open. It wasn't a proof if it's considered erisin or nesuin. And Rabbi Elazar says it's maybe not even either. Maybe it's not even considered erisin either. But what the Mishnah does say, back to the Mishnah, or we have to do each time again if we don't have that. So it could be that. But Beis Shammai says that the mama is enough to push away the tzara that he'd be able to take his wife, and the sister doesn't interfere. So that was yesterday's Gemara. Now we're starting Daf Lamed and new sugya. I would like to be able to do both the diagram at the same time, and if it's not working, I don't know what to do. We'll try one more time. Yeah, first where do we have the Gemara on? First we get the Gemara on. Oh, is that true? Is that showing? Still not sure what's happening. Something is not going well. Is everything showing? Is
Yeah,
both are showing? Okay.
Yeah.
I need some technical help, but okay, we'll try it as good as we can. Okay, now the next Mishnah.
Make it smaller, right?
I can make it
Yeah, but the thing on the
smaller.
right, on the thing on the right, on the bottom right, a little thing pushed there.
That's gonna make it bigger. That makes it a full screen. We don't want that.
Go back to the bottom right.
But I'd like to make it smaller. It takes up too much space on the screen.
Maybe the minus sign?
The minus makes it mamish minimizes it. That minimizes it like yummy, right? That's not good. There is a way to make it smaller, which is not working right now. No.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Third
Okay.
from the right. There, third from the right. Is that going to help you? Third from the right.
No, no,
the
no.
left, no, bottom. Below that, and left. Yeah.
No. There's something else. Something else.
Crop.
Okay.
Crop could help.
Still not working. Okay. Fine. Shlosh Achin. Shnayim hem nesum shtei achoyes. V'echad nasi nochris. Meis echad mibali achoyes. V'konas nasi nochris es ishto v'meis. Okay, so we have to juggle around a little bit. The numbers again, just to say the order of things. What the order happened? What do we have over here? Try to get the Mishnah at the same time to see the Mishnah's words. 3 brothers, and 2 of them are married to sisters, and 1 is married to a non-sister. A nachris doesn't mean a goya. Nachris just means that she's not related. So a non-sister, a non-relative. And then the first thing that happened was 1 of the brothers died. Okay, so this woman falls to Yibum, and there are 2 available brothers. And one of the and the one who married her, the one of the Yibum, was the one who was married to the non-sister. Okay, so now what do we have? At this point, this brother died, and his widow was Nisyabim to one of the brothers. He now has 2 wives. He has a wife, his original wife, and one of the sisters. And then he died. So now his wives are falling to the other brother. This woman is a erva. One of his wives is a chos. This woman is a chos ishta. Means that the surviving brother cannot marry this one of the wives because she's an erva. She's a chos ishta. She's his wife's sister. So she doesn't do yibum. So that also part is the co-wife. So both of them don't do yibum. Make sense? Right, because one is an erva and the other one is a tzara. That's what the Mishnah says. 3 brothers, 2 of them married to 2 sisters. 1 is married to another wife. One of the brothers one of the husbands of the sisters died. And the 3rd brother was married to the non-sister, married her to Jibum, and then he died. One wife, the wife who's a sister is gonna is part of the whole issue because she's a wife's sister. If the same case, but instead of marrying her, he only had a chance to do ma'amar. Same case, 3 brothers, 2 married to 2 sisters, another was married to a non-sister, and one brother died, and then this brother only had a chance to do ma'amar. He didn't actually do the yibum, he just did ma'amar, and then he died. So again, this woman surely is a chos ishto. To this brother, he surely cannot do yibum or anything, chalitza, to this woman because it's the sister of his wife. But this one is not considered mamish a co-wife, since the only relationship that she got into the family was only because of ma'amar. Ma'amar is not considered a full marriage. So therefore, it's yes and no. It's partially. So that's not enough to make her considered a tzaras achos ishto. This woman is a chos ishto. This woman we want to talk about is a tzaras achos ishto. In this case, before that of Amish was a marriage, a yibum. So then she's a chos ishto, and she's tzaras achos ishto. But over here, that it's only ma'amar. It's not. So therefore, the Mishnah says she needs chalitza. She doesn't need anything because she's a chos ishto. But this one is only tzaras achos ishto b'ma'amar. It's not a real marriage. So therefore, she does need chalitza. That's what the Mishnah says. Asa b'ma'amar or meis nachris choletzes v'lo misha b'emes. Nachris means the non-sister. She does need chalitza. The Gemara has a diak about this. Now, time of Dovad b'ma'amar. Hello b'ma'amar. Nachris yivu miname b'yama. What will be in this case? It wasn't even the same case, but there was even no mama. Again, the 3 brothers, 2 married to 2 sisters, 1 married to an achris. one of their brothers died, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. I mean, she's at this point, she's omeid to do yibum to the third brother. This brother, of course, there's no question because it's his wife's sister. But his other brother, which is available, but nothing happened yet. Nothing happened. They're waiting, and then before anything happened, he died. So here's mashma that he would be able to do yibum. This one is as a chosish though, but now this woman he could marry because there's no relationship. And the Gemara says from here you see ain't zika. If you hold yesh zika, so the fact that there's a zika that he should have married her makes a little bit that she's a tsaras achos isha bezika. The fact that it's mashma that he'd be able to marry her, that means no zika. That's the Gemara over here. From here you see that there's no zika, even it's only one brother. If that's the case, that there's only one brother. When the first brother died, there was only one brother available. This brother is not called available to do yibum to this woman because it's his wife's sister. So there's only one brother available. The fact that the Mishnah is mashma, that if he didn't do mamar even, so then when he dies, his wife would be able to get misyabin from that brother, that must be that this woman is not even considered as kuka. Because if it would have been as kuka, then she would have been a tsaras, achos isha, bezika. That the zika made her a bit of a tzara. The fact that she's born into the family. So that's the Gemara's diuk of ein zika. If that's good, the Mishnah continues. Three brothers, two of them married to two sisters, and same scenario so far, and one's married to a non-sister, but here it happened a little differently. So again, the diagram, next diagram. This was the ratio. All this was called the ratio. Now we're going to the next mission, that's called the Seifa. So here the case is, what happened? I don't know what happened. Here. Okay, so I make it a little bit bigger. No, I don't know again. Nope. I'm not driving well today. Second. Here's the same case, but instead of one of the Balei Achayos dying first, here the order is opposite. In the case before we had that he died first, and then the question was then whatever happened between him and her, and then that Nosinochus died. Here, in opposite order. Here, we have three brothers, two of them married to two sisters, and the other one married to a foreigner and a stranger. And then the Nosinochus, he's the one who died. And his wife is falling to Yibum. So the Mishnah says that if one of the brothers took her, any one of the brothers could have taken her. One of the brothers happened to have taken her. And then, so now he has two wives. He has one of the sisters and also another wife, and then he died. So this is simple again. These two women fall to Yibum. This one surely doesn't have Yibum because it's his wife's sister. And this one is at Sarah. So it's a co-wife to a Chosisha. So also nothing happens over here. That's also simple. See the Mishnah over there again? Here the case was that the one who was married to the Nachus died first, and one of the Balei Choyos, one of the husbands of those sisters, took his wife, his Yibum, and then he died. That's all simple. That one of them is the wife's sister, the other one is a tzara, a full tzara, a full co-wife. Again, the picture, again the diagram. If it would have been that it wasn't a marriage, but it was only a mamar, so it's not considered that she mamish fully got in. So again, this one is when the husband dies. So she's surely achosisha. That's not a question. She's parted from anything. But this one, we can't say that she's parted from anything because she didn't get fully to become a co-wife. So therefore, again, she needs chalitza from the remaining brother and not yibum. The Gemara wants to know what the chiddush of the second case is. It's the same as the first Mishnah. The Seif and the Reish are both the same idea. If there's a marriage and it's a full knisa and it's a tzara serva, but if it's only a mamar, so it's not. So why is there more chiddush of the Seif than the Reish? And the Gemara says not only is it the same, it's even a kal v'chomer. Amris nachris asura. So the Gemara is making a kal v'chomer. The Reish and the Seif. If we go back to the Reish was, as we say in Yiddish, it's called the Tzukik Kamana, the one who's coming new, the newcomer. the newcomer. Let's call her the newcomer. So in this case, the erva, the erva is the one who's. That's the question. Did she get in? Did she get in? She's this woman, who's the main wife. You can call the one who's falling to Yibum. How do we say it? This one who's falling to Yibum. This is the one. The second one who died is the one who the issue is his wife. And the issue is that if there's a tzugikaman, a newcomer erva, that's going to disturb the Yibum process. There should have been a Yibum from this woman. This woman is a Nachris. She's not related, no relation to this brother who's the surviving brother, and she should get Yibum. But now there's an incoming erva. And over there, what?
When did that happen? It happened already before, no? The sisters.
There were three brothers that married to two wives. One of the brothers died, and his wife is incoming to the. So if he married her, then he married her as a mamish, two wives, and then when he dies, so then this other brother cannot marry not the erva and not the tzara, mamish tzara's erva. But they talk about let's say only mimer happened. So the erva is coming in as an incomer to disturb the yibum that should have happened to this woman. This woman should have had yibum to the brother. She's not related, no other relation, no erva problem. And the erva is coming in and disturbing. That's a chiddush to say that she's able to, that's more of a chiddush to say than the sefer case. The sefer is the opposite case. The sefer is that the one who's falling to yibum now is the, what are we saying? That this brother, this one died first. The Moshe Nachmas died first, and the Nasui and the Balachoyos is the one who died second. So, if this woman is the one she's the erva, and now there's an incoming tzara. She wants to become pater because she's a tzara of someone who's an erva. She's surely pater, and she's coming. The fact that she's also being pulled in, so she's going to be pater from Yibum to the third brother because she's the tzara of an erva.
How is she an erva? She's one of the sisters in erva to the Benachia?
No.
Where's
two sisters? A person's not allowed to marry two sisters. So
they're the erva.
The fact that they're sisters. So this man, the surviving brother, at the end of the story, both in the Beis the Sefer, the surviving brother has a wife. And this Chosishto. So that's an erva. We should make this one red, this one red, this one, this, they can't match. And now the question is about this incoming woman, also the fact that the husband of the late husband started taking her, so he took another wife, like a secondary wife now, another wife, and incoming wife. Is she in enough to become pater? So the Gemara considers that the Sefer is more pashut, is more pashut, that it's not enough to become pater. The Reisha, that woman is the Iker woman, call her the Iker wife that's falling to Yibum, she is estranged. She could have. She's really mutter. A good reason that she should be able to be married. But the fact that the erva is coming in is mafriya. That is a big chiddush. There's more reason that she should be pater over here. So the Gemara's kasha is, if you said already in the Reisha that the mama is enough to bring her in to interfere with the yibum of the nachris, then kal v'chomer in the sefer, that the woman who's an erva surely is not, that the mama is not going to be enough to bring in the tzara that she should also be pater from yibum. And that's the Gemara's kasha. Kal v'chomer, it doesn't say kal v'chomer, but the Gemara says, "Uma hasam dachosi shahav yitzara lenachris amrit nachris asura hachad the nachris have yitzara lachosi shalakol shkein." The Gemara thinks that it should be a kal v'chomer if the first case is disturbing, kal v'chomer the second case is disturbing. The Gemara answers, you're right. You're right that if you know the first case, you surely know the second case. But Tana bereisha uvahach chazir latera v'sharya. The Gemara, it says that a big chiddush, that originally the Tana thought that only the sefer would be yasser, but the reisha taka will be mutter. This woman that she's chayv in yibum, she has a real chiv to yibum, and now the incoming erva is going to disturb. The Gemara thought, no, that will be mutter. Only the second case is going to be yasser. So the Tana originally only said the Seifa. This is the case that's Asa. But in the Reisha, he thought that would be Mutter. And he didn't write it. He only wrote that the Seifa case is Asa. But then he changed his mind and he realized that this case also is going to be Asa. So he also inserted this case is also Asa. And he put it first because since it was a Chiddush, he made the Chiddush to be first. And he left the second Mishnah because once upon a time written it, because he held that only that's the case that's Asa, so he kept it. But really, you're right. Once you know the Reisha, then you come home with a Seifa. Tana, Hach Tana Bereisha. The Tana first said this in the beginning. He said the Seifa first only. The Hach, and this case, which we have called the Reisha, Chazir L'Teira, he thought that it was really Mutter. B'Shari, it would have been Mutter. But the Chazir L'Isura, and then he thought he saw it as being Aser, means that he decided that's also going to be Aser. He preceded the Mishnah, which is the Chiddush, which is the first Mishnah, but the second Mishnah he didn't erase. He left it because once it was already written, he left it already also. But the truth is that from the Reisha, you know the Sefer also.
Excuse me, Rebbe.
Yes, please.
Are we saying that the one that comes in that's new, like in the Reisha, it's the sister who comes in, and in the Seifa, right, it's the Nachris. Right. The one that comes in new latches on to the old one, and we latches
on to the husband, so to speak. And right. So in this case, which is the Reisha, so she, the original wife, so to speak, this original wife of this late.
She latches on to the sister. Right. And since the sister is Aser.
In this case, not. This is the Reisha case, and the case on the screen is the Reisha, and over here, she really should have Yibum, and the sister is coming in and disturbing the whole Yibum process because the sister's coming in. She's halfway in, 1 foot in, so now she's disturbing the original wife from getting Yibum. That's a chiddush that she should be able to disturb. In the second case, the Seifa case, so the original wife is the erva, and the incomer is the tzara that is also going to become putter because she's latching on, and now she becomes a tzara.
What do you mean what do you mean the original wife is the erva? The original wife is a nachri, is a nachris.
Now the original wife of this one. Here she died first, and he died first.
He died,
and now she is coming into the second one, to this one's house. She's coming in, and she's now becoming a tzara to this erva. This erva surely.
That's what I'm saying. She's latching on to the original wife, to the husband that had an original wife who was an erva. Right.
That's a bigger. That's a smaller chiddush that she's able to.
That she needs to lead.
That's a small. How does it go? That is here. It's more mustaber that she does become a Tzaras erva. Am I saying it right?
You did mimer with her, right?
Ma hasam de nachris ikun is suahi. Da chosi shenafla leha. V'naset zerasa b'mamar asvata hacha da chosi sheikun is suahi. Lo kolshkein do seres nachris sheet tefela. The Iker wife is the one who is the home base, and the other one is coming in, the incomer. I think that terminology will be good. So in the first case, if the Gemara considers more reason, it's a bigger chiddush to say that it's Aser over here.
Right, because we look at the home base person who was really mutter for him to do Yibum, like you have in the third picture. That she was the home base person.
The Nachris was the home base?
Yeah, because she was already married to the guy before he did Mimer. So she's the home base. And then he brings in somebody.
If the Torah isn't able to come in and stop her ability to get Yibum, so surely in the second case. In the second case, where
because that's what I meant, like latching on to the home base woman. You're talking about the man, but the home base woman here is an erva mamish because she's the sister.
Right.
So then when the nachris comes and like latches on as a co-wife, it seems more reasonable that she'd be usher.
He'd be Aser. And that's what the Gemara says, you're right. And he said the Sefer first. He didn't say the Reisha because he thought the Reisha would be Mutter. And then when he was Machadesh, the Reisha is also Aser. So he put it first and he kept the Sefer because he already had written it.
What we just learned is the Sefer.
Yes. And now the Gemara goes to the next Mishnah.
It's not surprising that she's forbidden to come into the marriage. She's a sister to the.
But there's only a mama. They didn't get married mamish. It wasn't that both. It's not that both are married. One is a marriage and one is a mama.
So what do we like? We want to know whether she needs to do chalitza or just.
So we say that in both cases, the original wife, the one who's the Erebus doesn't do anything. There's no ibum, no chalitza, and the one who's coming in is considered a half a story. So therefore, both they need chalitza in both cases. But the Gemara thought that one is a chiddush more than the other, and the Gemara says you're right. The reason why we said chiddush and then a pashut is because first we thought that the chiddush was not true, and then we put it in. Next Mishnah. Shlosha achim shnayim hem nesu and shtei achoyos v'echad nasi nachris. Meis echad mi balei achoyos v'konas nasi nachris es ishto u'meisa ishto shal sheni v'yachar kach meis nasi nachris. I have some kind of a chart for this. Oh, 1 second, please. Why did it go off? Okay, next one. Well, the number up. The numbers here again are just the order of things that happened. Here, maybe it's a little clear because it's in red. 3 brothers married to 2 sisters. One of them is married to a nachris. First thing happened, one of the brothers, one of the balei achoyos, one of the husband, the wife's sisters, one of the sisters' husbands died. The second story was that one of the brothers took her in.
Which she said doesn't have.
Why not? Everything's fine. What does that have to do with him taking it? There's a third brother.
Where's the sister on the right? She died?
In order. You have to go in order. I'm sorry that I didn't make it. It's not a slideshow. It's one. It doesn't show different things. That might be good, but yeah, going to the numbers. First one died. If one died, nothing else happened yet. Only he died. And then second stage was that one of the Nosi Nachris did Yibum. Then the other wife, the other sister died. That was number 3. The stage 3, the other sister died. At that stage, it's not anymore his wife's sister because she died. A wife's sister is only as long as his wife is alive, but his wife died. And then the husband of the new husband, he had a wife, now he took this other wife, then he died. The question is, could this brother marry this woman who was not anymore his wife's sister?
Good. He should be able to marry her.
So let's see what the Mishnah says.
Because he said his wife, who's the sister, is not alive anymore.
So it says in the Mishnah, yes, please.
Does everybody agree that he could do Yibum to the co-wife, to the Nachris? He could do Yibum to the Nachris, right? There's co-wives here. Number 4, the 4, where you have the 4, that brother has co-wives.
I don't think so. I think he's not going to be able to either. Let's see in a second. I think so. I think not. Let's see what the Mishnah says. 3 brothers married to 2 men married to sisters, 1 married to a foreigner. One of the husbands of the sisters died, and the one who was Nasi Nachris took her in. And then the other sister died. And then the Nasi Nachris died. So the Gemara, first the Mishnah talks about this woman who was once upon a time his wife's sister. So she's Asa. Why is she Asa? Because once upon a time she was Asa. When the first brother died, she was Asa. She fell to Yibum in a state of Issa because at that point his wife was alive, and it was a wife's sister. He wasn't allowed to marry her. So that becomes considered a brother's wife without a mitzvah of Yibum. And that Issa is going to stay forever. So even though now, as time goes on, she became married to this brother, his wife died, even though there's a reason to fall to Yibum now, because she married to another brother and he died, he still cannot take this woman because once upon a time, it was a wife's sister. Not because the wife's sister is still Asa. You're right. After a wife dies, her sister is mutter. But here, at the time that she fell to Yibum, it was Asa because at that time she was a wife's sister, so she becomes a brother's wife without a mitzvah of Yibum, and that Issa stays forever. like Yaakov, I think that the co-wife also is going to be Yasser, because
Yeah, but
if this
now
woman,
she's the wife of like a Venerable or something.
right,
If someone
if you consider her an erva, so it's a co-wife of an erva, so the other wife also should go free. There's no yibum over here. That's the Mishnah. And the Mishnah says, "Hol v'nesra love shacha." Since at one time she was Yasser, that's why she's always Yasser. Amar Rav Yudah around. Kol yivam she'ena nikora bo b'shas nefili yivam yavo ala rei keish asach sheish labanim basura. He seems to be explaining the Mishnah, but he didn't explain it. He said a klal. He said a rule, like he's saying a new thing. Any yavama that at the time she falls to yivam, it's impossible for the yavam to be miyavamer, whatever reason it was Yasser. So then she becomes her brother's wife that has, as if he has children, which means there's no mitzvah of yibum, and therefore she's Yasser. She becomes her brother's wife without a mitzvah of yibum. And the Gemara says, that's the Mishnah. Why is he saying a chiddush? He sounds like he's saying a chiddush. As the Mishnah seems to say, that since at one point she was Yasser, she's Yasser always. What does Rav say chiddush more than the Mishnah? The Gemara answers, the Gemara says, you might think that, I'm not sure which diagram I should use, that the Mishnah's case is she didn't become mutter the whole time that she was still in the state of falling to evil. Means the brother died. As long as after he died, this woman was still alive, his wife was still alive, and she didn't die until after she was married to the other brother. 1, 2, 3. 1, he died. At that point, the wife was still alive. And she was alive until after the woman was taken in by the other brother. So the whole Nefila Rishona means the whole state of being in a Yevama, Mikoach, falling to even Mikoach, the death of this brother, she was a wife's sister.
That was asserted. So
Maybe only in that case, we say that it's usher, even if eventually the wife dies and now her husband dies and she falls to Yibum. No, because the whole Nefila Rishona, she was considered the wife's sister. But in a case where, I'm not sure which case I should talk about over here. Let's say this case, I'm not sure. What does this case show? Let's talk about this case. But Rabbi wants to say, how about like this? That the brother died. Okay, the brother died. And at this point, the other sisters, Balei Achayos, cannot marry her because it's his wife's sister. And then she died. Means nothing at this point, nothing happened. She wasn't taken away. During the Nefila Rishona, as long as she was still obligated, so to speak, standing for Yibum, she was the wife's. During the time that she was still falling to Yibum, his wife died. Maybe in this case, you do say that it was broken. The problem is broken. In the first case, as long as and maybe he could do Yibum. Maybe the fact that his wife died makes that she should become permitted to him. In the first case, as long as she was falling to Yibum because of the death of that brother, so his wife was still alive. She only died after she was taken into, so the whole Nefila Rishona, that she was considered the wife's sister, that's why it remains forever. And even after the other brother takes her and dies, he won't be able to take her. But in the case that during the Nefila Rishona, while she was still coming because of the death of the first brother, his wife died, maybe it does become with her. So Rav had to say a chiddush, no, that in this case also, he's not allowed to take her.
Why?
Because once it was usher, the same thing as we said before, the fact that he's usher to take her, at that point, it's considered the brother's wife without the mitzvah of Yibum, and that stays forever. If it will be a wife that died, he could take her sister after she. That's what the pasuk says. Only the chayeha. But over here, since at the point of Yibum, when she fell to Yibum, she was usher because it was a wife's sister, so it becomes a brother's wife without the mitzvah of Yibum, and that stays forever. The Gemara continues and asks, that's also a Mishnah. Anami Tanina, there's a Mishnah that says that parish also. You don't need Rav. Shnei achim nesum shnei achayos, meisachem neyam, ba'achach meisa ishto shel sheni, harezu asura alav alav, mishol v'nesra alav sha'achas. This is the simplest case. This is not much a simple case that you had two brothers married to two sisters. One of them died. So that woman at that point can't fall to Yibum because she's the wife's sister. And then his wife died. And the Mishnah says beferish that he can't marry her still because Nesra loved Sha'achas, because she was us at one point while his wife was alive. So what does Rav say more than the Mishnah? What is Rav's chiddush more than the Mishnah? Mishnah says the same thing. And you see the diagram, the only chiddush is that there's a brother over here, but he didn't do Yibum yet. So what is Rav saying more than the Mishnah that says that in this case also, she's also forever? That's the Mor's Kasha. And my answer is, you might think that in this case, it's more simple that it's Asa. Because here, when the first husband dies and she's not fitting to marry the Yavam because it's his wife's sister, so then there's nothing to do. There's no other brother. There's no other brother. So she goes Lashuk. She's mutter. We say, Mrs. The widow, you can marry anybody. So then she's mushukra, and then it's pashut that you're not going to say that when his wife dies, then we say she's obligated again. We call her from the shuk and say because it was already mutter. But in this case, that this household still has other brothers. There's another brother available. So maybe you could say, Rav says, you might have thought that after the wife dies, now he could become mutter to her because she was never freed. She never became freed in this case because there's another brother who has to decide even wachalitza. She didn't go free. So in this case, you might think that when his wife dies, he could take her. Kamash Mullah, know that since at any time during the fall of Yibum, there was Issa to marry her because she was the wife's sister. Even though that went off, it still remains the brother's wife, and it's without a Yibum, and it's also forever. Next Mishnah. Shlosh Achim, Shnayim Mem Nesum Shtei Achoyis V'Echad Nasi Nachris, Girish Echad Yibali Achoyis Asishto, Umeis Nasi Nachris, V'Kan Sam B'Garesh V'Meis. Again, the numbers in red are the order of things. Just to see the code for the mapping over here, this line here means a divorce. So 3 brothers married to 2 sisters, 2 of them married to 2 sisters, one of them married to a Nachris, and the first thing happened was that one of the Baalei Achoyis divorced his wife. That was the first step, he divorced his wife. And then the Nasi Nachris died. And his wife falls to Yibum, and the husband, who once had one of the sisters, he takes her in. That's number 3. That's what happened to number 3. And then he died. What's the question over here? What are we looking at?
Could he do that?
What did he do wrong? He was married. What did he do wrong?
Because because she was a nook.
He divorced his wife. And then his brother died, and he got the wife of doing Yibum, and he got her wife, and then he died. So what question do we have over here? This remaining brother over here.
The remaining brother, first of all, it's going to stay that the guy who divorced his wife, he's going to be assur, she's going to be assur to him.
Why is that?
Because when they were,
I mean, this woman is out of the picture. This woman is divorced. She's out. She went away. She went out of town.
Get remarried.
She's not here anymore. The divorced wife is out of the picture. Now what? Now he has this wife.
The one who was Yabim.
So is there any chiddush over here?
What's the din?
What's the problem?
Can't she get married? She should be able to get married to the middle brother, the remaining brother.
Yes, why not? No chiddush.
And
she got married. This brother married. I should really number the numbers of the brothers besides giving the time frame. I'll try to do that next time. But he has a wife, and now that he died.
But if you use letters like Reuven, Shimon, and Levi or something like that.
Yeah, I should do something like that. Okay, so I'll try to do that next time. So he has Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. So now that Reuven died, he has a wife, which was originally Levi's wife. And now that he dies, is there any reason why Shimon should not do Yibum? There's no reason. What does the Mishnah say? These three brothers, two of them married to sisters, one married a nachris. One of the sisters' husbands divorced her. And the brother Levi, who was married to a nachris, he died. And then Kansam Magaresh, and this Reuven, who had divorced his wife, now took in Yibum, Umeis, and now he died. Zuisha Amru, for Kulish Mesa, in his Gashu, so we're saying with Taurus, that here you have no issue that there's a erva.
She's a nachris. She has nothing to do with that.
And even though she's another wife of the husband who had been married to one of the sisters, means if you look historically, so she is married to the same husband as one of the sisters was. If he had not divorced his wife, she'd be a Tzara Serva. He cannot marry her. When the guy dies, Reuven dies, it's very smart. I have to put the names over here. When Reuven dies, this guy's Reuven. So Shimon surely cannot marry his wife, because it's his wife's sister. But he divorced her. She's out of the picture. And now this woman that came in, like he would have married somebody else. It's a regular woman, and he's not married anymore to one of this. She's not a Tzara Serva because the Erev is gone. The Erev is gone because she was divorced. Simple case.
Okay.
So he should be able to do Yibum. Is that the answer?
Yeah, so Shimon does Yibum to Reuven's wife. Like, why not? Simple. Because it's not called a Tzara Serva. But the Gemara does make a deal in the order of things. Time of the Girish v'achkach meis, avol meis v'achkach girish asura. What if it would have been in the order of things? It would have been, I think I have it over here. What if this is called the Girish v'achkach meis? Means number one happened before number two. First, Reuven divorced his wife, and then Levi died. But what if it would have been the other order? What if it would have been this order? It would have been that Levi died, and then Reuven divorced his wife. Did I get it right? And then after that, what's going to be over here? Then after that, Reuven did Yibum to Levi's wife, and then he died. Is that what the was Medayik over here? If that would have happened in this order, time of the Girish v'achakach meis, aval meis v'achakach girish asura. Am Ravashi, that's what I'm saying. Zika, afilu b'trei achi. Here, when this man dies, Levi dies, Reuven did not yet divorce his wife. Take number one before number two. And number two was that stage two was that he divorced his wife. But in stage one, only Levi died and his wife falls to Yibum. He didn't take her. If he would have taken her, then of course it would have been Tzaras Achos Isha. But he didn't take her, but she's now a Zekuka. She's a Kuka, and one of the two brothers, any one of the two brothers could have taken her. Reuven could have taken her, Shimon could have taken her. Then Reuven divorced his wife. She was a Tzaras Erva, means she was a bit in the same household. They were in the same household. They were in the same household because not that he married her, but he was a Kuka. What?
They got divorced first. He divorced his wife first.
Before what? Before he married her.
Yeah.
Yes, but even before he married her, but there was if you say Zika, there was a Zika.
There was a Zika, yeah, there was a Zika.
So, and the Gemara's Badai, if it would have been this order, even if he did not marry her, there was a Zika alone. This one Levi, whatever, died. That already causes a Zika. That it's not on the page over here. It's an invisible Zika. He didn't, but that Zika seems that it would have interfered, and it would have been considered that Reuven is married to her also, and he did not yet divorce his wife. So this woman would be a Tzaras Erva. They both were in the same household, and now eventually, even though he divorced his wife, but if he dies, it seems that Shimon would not be able to do Yibum to her. To this one, because at one point they were in the same household.
Why do you say they're in the same household? Each one has their own homes.
They have the same husband. This husband, Reuven, he had a wife. He didn't divorce her yet, and his brother died, and his wife fell to him. So this woman is a tzara to this woman who was a erva to her husband. who's an erva, no. She's a tzara to this woman who is an erva to that other brother. Do I get it straight?
Yeah, but what's the problem?
Up, I should not have done that. 1 second, please. I have to put it on again. Yes, please. Time of the
Shimon
year.
isn't
Yes.
Shimon just as much has a zika to her too?
To who?
After number one, after Levi dies, Shimon has just as much of a zika to the wife as Reuven does.
Yes, and that's what the Gemara is saying. That, yeah, true, but the Gemara is saying, Yezika, filu betray. That even though there are two available miyavmim, she's considered zakukah to both of them. And you're right, to Shimon, but to Reuven also. So the fact that she's zakukah to Reuven, that makes her a Sarah, because Reuven's
Sorry.
wife at that time was still not divorced.
She's a Tzoras Erva to Shimon, and if Shimon would have done Yevum, she'd be a Tzoras Erva to Reuven. Is that what we're saying?
But the case is now that eventually Reuven died, and we want to know if Shimon could take her.
Yeah.
If Shimon could, and it seems in the Mishnah that he cannot, because the Zika would have made that she was married at the same time. She was married to the same husband at the same time. They were tzoras. She were tzoras, even though they weren't actually in the same household. He didn't actually marry her, but the Zika makes as if he's married to her, and he has two wives, co-wives. And now when Reuven dies, even though he divorced her subsequently, is this wife, but it's considered still tzoras erva. So he doesn't. I think that's down to Gemara. Does it say that? Okay, this is a long Rashi already. Hold the kodem shegiresh nasis sabras sabazika asu Allah kshayamos. Yeah, that's what Rashi seems to say. So Rashi wants to prove from this that you see in this Mishnah yesh zika even if there are two brothers. And now the Gemara has let's highlight that for a minute. Can I highlight it? I don't see that I can highlight it. I don't know why not. Okay, whatever reason I can. But he says, Yesh Zika, afilu betray afi. And now the Gemara is going to ask a contradiction because the Mishnah on the top, if we go back today, so here it said that Rav Nachman says also, Ain't Zika afilu b'chad. The Gemara, the Mishnah before, in the first Mishnah we learned today, from the Cheshbon over there, it came out that there's no Zika. And now the Gemara is saying at the bottom, this Mishnah is mashma that Yesh Zika. That's the Gemara's contradiction over here. Rabashi kasha de Rav Nachman. Rabashi who didn't afagav the low of the mama nachris mechlas chalsa. If we love miyama, but if tani mama lafuke beishama dami mama kona kinyan gomor from Ashmalan the low kebesh shamai. To maybe on the chart that might help something over here. Today in the morning we started. 1 second. Start to make it smaller. One brother died, and then the Nachris did Yibum. So then it's considered he has two wives. Next case, and the diak was, I'm sorry, what's happening? Then the second case was the case of Mama. Then I mentioned a case of Yibum and a case of Mama. And Rav Nachman was with Dayak. It doesn't say a case they did nothing. What if he would have done nothing? Same case, but nothing happened. One brother died, one of the Balei Achoyos died, and then the Baal Nachris died. It's mashma that Ein Zika, and the other brother would be able to marry her. That was the deal. Since it only says a case of Mama is the interference, the Yibum would have made Mamish that he has two wives, and since this one is an erva, this one is also a tzoras erva. And here, if there's at least a Mama, so at least something, some Mama at least. So it also makes a little bit that there's a connection. And since she's an erva, so then she's also tzoras erva b'mama. But it's mashmat wouldn't have even been mama, then she would be able to do yibum. And that's the Gemara's medayik. It's not, you don't say that she's a tzoras erva b'zika. Here's the tzoras erva mama. Here's the tzoras erva b'mama. How about a tzoras erva b'zika? The fact that one the brother died, and she becomes Zekuka, and here there's only one brother to become Zakuk, though, even though there's another live brother, but he's not the Sachos Ishta, so she's not in the Parsha. So this is only one brother available, and since it says that if he dies, then his wife this widow does do Yibum to that brother, it must be that you don't say the Zika. If you would have said a Zika, then it would have been a Tsaras Erva Zika. So that's the Gemara's Kasha. In the Reisha, you saw Ein Zika. The Gemara's Matcha, now they'll say what the Gemara says in the bottom, that it's not. Rav Ashi could say, no, really Yesh Zika. So how come it doesn't, how come it says Mama? It should have said this case also is also to do Yibum. The truth is this case also is also to do Yibum, but the reason that it says Mama is to say that don't think like Beishamai. Beishamai says on the other extreme. Beishamai was said that Mama is so strong that it's considered a full marriage, and she doesn't even need chalitza because it's considered the same as the marriage. If he would have taken her mamash, if it would have been yibum, we'd say that this man has two wives and it's mamash at Sarah Serva. Beishamai says that this woman, by mama, Beishamai says this woman goes free without anything because she's at Sarah Serva. Since Beishamai considers mama is kona, so it's as if this man had two wives, one of them, and then he dies. Right. So this one is an erva, right, and this one is a Sarah Serva mamish. So the reason why the Gemara said mama, the Mishnah said mama is not to be in the dike that if there was no mama, then she'd be mutter. No, this also will be also because yesh zika. But I wanted to say that even though there's mama, it still does need chalitza. You don't say like Beishamai that it's nothing, it's mamish considered a wife, and she goes free because of a Sarah Serva. Kamash Malon v'lo Beishamai. Now the Gemara goes the other way. The diak we said at the end was to show that yesh zika, because if ain't zika, then how come it says, let's jump around a little bit, how come it said the case of givesh v'achakach meis, it could have even said meis v'achakach givesh. If you say ain't zika, then this case also, he should be able to marry her. If it would have been this case, the meis v'achakach givesh case, if it would have been that the Nasi Nachmish died, if you say Ein Zika, so nothing happened, and then if he divorces his wife, if this Reuven divorces his wife, and then dies, Shimon would be able to do Yibam because they were never married together. So that was the deal. We said, in fact, the Mishnah doesn't say so. It's mashma that this would have been. I lost it. The Moshe Medak that this would have been awesome. That was Rav Ashi's deal. The Mishnah says this case is Girish V'achach Meis, says that it's mutter, and the diak was Meis V'achach Girish is asa. So that's the diak to say Yesh Zika, and now the Moshe says at the top of Rav Nachman Kasha de Rav Ashi. He says the Mishnah before is Mashma Ein Zika. Here's Mashma Yesh Zika. V'chitem Muadin that Filu Meis V'achach Girish was muteres. If you're going to say that it's lav dafka, either case would have been mutter. Ela zuhi lemutei mai. It says zuhi. This is the case that we say this gashem mutaros lemutei mai. Maybe lemutei kanas v'achakach giresh. So one more. There's another case over here. One more case over here that the Gemara says. What if it would have been kanas v'achakach giresh? That the first thing, not only did mace and there's a zika, maybe there would be kanas that if this Levi died, and Reuven actually married her. That's number two over here. The stage number two happened that he actually married her. So then these two women were mamish in the same house, so they had the same husband, and then he divorced one of them. Then it's going to be considered a tzara sachos erva. So the Gemara continues. We'll stop here, but the Gemara is continuing with the possibility. Do you see from the Mishnah is Yesh Zika or Ein Zika? The Mishnah on top of the page was Mashma Ein Zika. The Mishnah on the bottom of the page is that Mashma Yesh Zika. We're trying to reconcile it according to everybody. So, to be continued. Yashikach, everybody.
Are we on top of Lamed? Where are we? The top of what page?
On the top of Lamed, Lamed Beis.
Thank you.
Yashikach. I hope that it's somewhat coming out.
Somewhat.
Okay. Yashikach. Thank you.
Thank you.